Like to again remind people that he is in fact a struggling internally gay man, and so there's a lot happening with Eminem, and we should pray for him. On the second point, the way that we know that is because he's actually recycling things that black women have said about me on the internet. Like he's pretending this is original, calling me Candace. It's not. This is like he's just recycling the black women that don't like me on the internet, have a lot of names for me, one of them being Candy O. So he's like watched what they're saying, and I guess someone who was listening to him in the booth was like, yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, drop the beat. They're really going to like that. By the way, there's a second song he also dropped. This one's called Bad One. Lyrics, because there's a lot happening here. First thing I want to say is Eminem is obviously a gay man. It's very sad that Eminem cleaned out his closet but never came out of his closet. But let's get to these lyrics. I'll read them to you. He writes or says or raps, and Candace O, I ain't mad at her. I ain't gonna throw the fact bitch forgot she was black at her. Oh, laugh at her like them crackers she's backing after her back is turned in a cute MAGA hat with her brand new White Lives Matter shirt. Haha, nope. Or say this MAGA dirtbag in a skirt just opened the biggest can of worms on the whole planet Earth. Call her Grand Wizard, yeah, Candace, haha, or Grand Dragon, or like the national anthem, I won't stand for the tramp. Why? This whole subgenre with all these corny white rappers, I'm not a fan of it. It ain't my fault, but like sock puppets, I had a hand in it. This $1,000 in my hand is just like what Candace did when she turned her back on her own race, because I have abandoned it. Oh my, so cool. That's a tough one. That's so tough. The black community is going to be going crazy. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Actually, I'm doing this because I want to help him go viral, because this is sad. This is very sad. I want you to feel sad for Eminem, because this is just not the way for someone's career to go down the drain. And I want us all to do our part to help make Eminem relevant again, at the very least, and he can be relevant just by me speaking about him. He understands that. I did TMZ earlier, they were asking me, like, in part, though, aren't you honored that someone who is recognized as the greatest white rapper of all time is dedicating all of this time to you? And I said no, because it would have meant something if he was at his prime. As an example, Dave Chappelle, he made a really, honestly, it was kind of a hideous joke about me. I didn't think the joke itself was funny, but I did appreciate the fact that Dave Chappelle, who is the most famous comedian in the entire world at the peak of his career, was mentioning me on stage. Like when he was very sad about George Floyd and he did this whole skit and he said some awful things about me, I did have that moment where I went, wow, Dave Chappelle knows who I am. This is not that with Eminem. He is not at the peak of his career. He's at the end of it. His career should have ended like 15 years ago, and he keeps going. And so this is not a rapper that's at the top. One of those people that they're not going to listen to is you, Eminem, because you're just so irrelevant. Your music isn't good anymore. And like I said, you're the one that's actually cosplaying a race that you aren't. You're desperate for Black Americans to pick up your tracks because you abandoned the audience of a lot of people who were listening to your music. I'm a trailer park kid, and then what did you do? You dunked on kids from the trailer park. You dunked on actually an entire middle class of white people who loved your music. You dunked on people in the country. For what reason? For what reason other than you misread the room? And the reason that you misread the room, rather, is because what's actually happened to Eminem is he's an out-of-touch elitist. He is. This is what happens. He is now a lefty elitist. He belongs on a campaign trail with Hillary Clinton when she runs for the third or fourth time. That's what he should be doing, because he's pretending to know anything about what's going on. He's going through a strategy that a lot of new rappers do, where they find out who is the big rapper and they start a beef, right? He's like, nobody knows who I am, so I'm just going to start a beef with Candace Owens. And he's just fading out of the American mindset entirely. So this is what he's come up with. And I want to say this. Genuinely, the pander here is pathetic. He's literally making a plea to the public. I hate white people. That's what he's saying. He's calling white people crackers. He's using a slur against his own people while at the same time, unironically, accusing me of doing what he's doing. He's like, she turned her back on her own race as he turns his back on his race and calls them crackers. I've never used slurs to describe Black Americans because I don't have an issue with my race, but you very much have an issue with yours. And the other thing is, like, he doesn't even know what his audience is. Again, this feels very maybe could have done something in 2016 when